Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. Well, it's Monday, which means it's time to update you on the status of both Snope and Ocean State at the Supreme Court. These two cases are so important that they could overturn all so-called assault weapons and mag bans nationwide. So let's talk about what happened this morning. Now, real quick before we get started, this channel is proud to be sponsored by Attorneys on Retainer, who is backed by Attorneys for Freedom, the only law firm in the entire country that does nothing but self-defense cases. So if you're somebody who carries to defend yourself or your loved one, or maybe you just keep something in your home to defend your home, you need an Attorneys on Retainer membership. It's like having an attorney in your back pocket. Should the worst actually happen, you call the number on the back of that card, you speak to an actual attorney giving you instant attorney-client privilege. Now, they also have other great coverages like red flag coverage, civil liability coverage, excellent online education and training. It's something that you have to have. It is the best peace of mind you can have in your wallet. So check out the link down below. Check out the discounts as well. Save yourself a little bit of money and become a member like me of Attorneys on Retainer. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with Snope and Ocean State. Now, we have been talking about these two cases at the Supreme Court for 9 months now. As a matter of fact, this August, it will be 1 year. To me, that is the definition of justice delayed, because during this entire time, people have had their rights infringed. We have seen multiple cases go before the Supreme Court that have been accepted, that have come from the White House or the government or the DOJ or the ATF or any one of the agencies, and they get accepted and they get decisions or they get answers right away. But when it comes to our freedoms and our constitutional rights, there's no big hurry. We're just kind of waiting on things. Well, once again, this morning, the Supreme Court decided to do nothing with either Snope or Ocean State. As a matter of fact, by this point, they're usually relisted for next week. However, I don't see them relisted yet. So as of right now, nothing. Now that kind of leads me to believe that we really are waiting for Duncan to get up to the Supreme Court. Duncan is the mag ban case out of the state of California, deals with magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds. That is a case that has been up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court GVR'd it, sent it back down. It's gone through the entire process and it is on a final judgment, which, keep in mind, is exactly what the Supreme Court says that they want. As a matter of fact, listen to Chuck Michel, who is the president of the CRPA, the group that is behind Duncan.
Look, this case, it's fully baked. It's been tried not once, but twice. Tried in a district court, trial court, all the evidence presented, all the expert testimony presented, everything cross-examined, everything evaluated by the trial court judge, then evaluated twice by, or 3 times by appellate courts, and it's a judgment as opposed to an appeal from a preliminary injunction. This is a permanent, the trial court issued a permanent injunction and judgment. That's what's being litigated. That's what the court seems to be looking for. We know, I think we know, that the Supreme Court is looking for a Second Amendment case. We don't know which one is going to be more or less attractive to the Supreme Court, but if we assume that they don't want these interlocutory appeal cases, the appeals from a preliminary injunction, they want a fully baked cake. They want a cake that's been tried and there's a judgment. That's Duncan. This is a case that's in en banc with the Ninth Circuit, which is the most overturned circuit in the country. 4 vigorous dissents out of the 11, all of which lay out why the 7 judges are wrong and how they twisted the Bruin methodology, and they call them to task for that. So this case is really packaged. There shouldn't be any more that the Supreme Court needs to take a Second Amendment case and set the record straight about what the Bruin test really means and how to apply it and how the lower courts are twisting it and basically give them a smackdown so that they get the Bruin decision right. This case is, I think, has, 10 out of 10 attractiveness to the Supreme Court, given the things that we think the Supreme Court is looking for.
Now, while you were watching that video, I went ahead and I checked the Supreme Court's calendar, and sure enough, there's no conference scheduled for this week, which is probably why these two cases have not been relisted. The next conference date isn't until the 15th. That means that we won't find out till the following Friday or Monday. We're looking at another 2 weeks now 2 weeks before we hear anything else about these two cases. Now, the CRPA says that they are for sure sending Duncan up to the Supreme Court and that it's going to happen fairly soon. So it is possible that the Supreme Court is just waiting for Duncan to get there. Once Duncan gets there, they could deny Ocean State. Again, a similar case, but not complete like Duncan. And then when Duncan gets there, they could accept both at the same time, both Snope and Duncan, which would answer 2 questions. And that would be great, but I'm kind of losing faith in the Supreme Court at this point. To allow people's rights to be infringed on for this long while you deal with everything else, to me shows that you do treat the Second Amendment like a second-class right, which goes contrary to what the Supreme Court has said. Now, I know that there's, a couple justices that would for sure take these right away. I think Thomas and Alito would take these absolutely no problem, but the other justices might need some convincing. Nevertheless, my faith in the court is definitely going downhill for allowing these infringements to remain. We're going to wait. We're going to see what happens. We're going to follow these 2 cases. And even though we've been doing it for the past 9 months now, I'm going to continue to update you on both Snope and Ocean State, and now Duncan, until we get these cases resolved. Because as frustrating as it is, and I know from the comments how upset you guys are, and you have every right to be, I am too, we still need to stay on top of it to find out what they're doing. So again, we're just going to stick to it, and in a couple weeks, I'll give you guys an update and let you know what they've decided to do yet again. So with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a good one.